England have just drawn to Slovenia 0-0, sending us through to the knockout stages of the Euros. But was it a reaction from the previous two games? And can we take any positives from it? In my opinion, it was another subpar performance. Okay. It was our best performance, but it was the best out of a bad bunch, I must say. We looked like overall we showed more energy, definitely. Out of possession we did. Okay, chasing the ball down, putting in tackles, really giving our 100% effort, I thought, out of possession. But in possession, we just moved the ball too slow. Again, moved it far too slow, especially early on in the first 20, 30 minutes. Again, we looked out of sync early on. Didn't really look like we were flowing very well. But I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I don't think it was as bad as what a lot of people are making out. You can definitely take positives from this game. We looked better than the previous two games. So we're trending in the right direction. But in my opinion, I think there was enough today, especially in the second half, to give the team some confidence, a bit of momentum going into the knockout stages, because we've now had three games where we've seen some improvements probably every single game. I know we played very well the first half of our first game in the group, but since then we've steadily increased our performance, increased the level, and almost the team chemistry on the pitch. I don't think we need to make big changes. We we need to continue progressing in this direction. Maybe one or two changes come the game Sunday, I feel, which I'll get onto later. But we don't need to panic now. You know, you can see the team starting to look a bit more in sync. Like I said, especially in the second half, and the momentum's picking up. So we're trending in the right direction at the right time. And you've got to look at the other thing as well. Slovenia needed 1 point to get through to the knockout stages for the first time in their history, I think. And you could tell during the pitch they were playing for that point. They weren't really trying to attack, and if they did, it was always with a few numbers going forward, keeping a lot of numbers back, and they were up for it. Defensively, they were on it, 100% intensity from every single one of them on the pitch. Most of the time, they had 11 men behind the ball, and for certain players like Jude Bellingham, it doesn't really suit his game. You know, he's playing in the number 10 for us. It don't suit his game to be able to, create and slice people open like that. He needs the game a bit more spread, up and down. That's what he's about. Early on in the game, I thought having no left-footed left back absolutely killed us. So many times where Trippier's rolling inside a bit, Foden staying out wide, and when he's receiving it, he's just neglecting Foden all the time. He don't want to open up on his left, especially in the first 30 minutes. And then he's playing inside to a crowded area, and it just killed us. It absolutely killed us, and it makes you wonder, why did we not bring a left-footed left back? I know we got Shaw, but he's not been fit. You can't just rely on him hopefully being fit for whatever game he's meant to be fit for, like hopefully being fit for the group stages, the knockout stages, sorry. You needed a left-footed player there, and it could have been, I mean, I suppose the next one is Tyreek Mitchell, in my opinion. After Shaw and Chilwell, it's got to be Tyreek. Left-footed left back, opens the game up when he gets it, and accesses that left wing. You know, he'll stay wide and he'll go up and down. He's got energy for days. So that's a big mistake he's made, in my opinion. And also, you don't want to now listen. As the game grew, Foden, Bellingham, and Trippier's, their chemistry, the way they played and bounced off each other, improved. They started to understand each other's movements a bit more, and it was looking a bit more free flowing and positive. So you don't want to now have spent three games almost getting that to where it needs to be, to then bring in Luke Shaw, an unfit Luke Shaw, lack of game time Luke Shaw, to then switch back to the other system. Because can you just switch it back? I don't know. Maybe we can, because we've done it pretty much every other tournament for the last 4 or 5 years. But it's a risk. It's definitely a risk. And now that's starting to click. Maybe we do just stick with Trippier regardless of how Shaw is doing. Let's get on to the midfield situation, because for me, it's still clear Phil Foden needs to play in the middle. He's best in the middle, and bar the first 30 minutes of that game, he started creeping into the middle and almost rotated with Bellingham. Bellingham went out wide, Foden come in the middle, and he was our best player. He started getting on it loads, creating chances, and that's what we need. Bellingham can't do that against a low block, and you've got to sacrifice one of them. Phil Foden was sacrificed early on, out wide, not really getting the ball, not getting involved. Then Bellingham got sacrificed, for the second half of the game, out wide. Wasn't really effective out there, but again, that's not his position, that's not his role, that's not what he's good at. So for me, you've got to choose one of them now. You can't keep playing them both unless you stick Bellingham back in the 8, which again has not been tested. Um, but for me, I'm going Phil Foden in that 10. On Bellingham in the 8, I probably wouldn't do it now. We've tried Trent in there, didn't work, as few people expected. We've now put Gallagher in there, and he done what I knew he would do. He ratted about, high energy, pressed high, worked hard in the middle, out of possession, and was very safe on the ball. Never creates too much, never does anything amazing, but that's not his game. You know what you're going to get with him. And have we got someone better? I think Mainoo come in like second half of the game and changed it. Loads of forward runs, positive, secure on the ball, created chances. I think he had 97% possession, pass accuracy. Sorry, more passes than Gallagher. So for me, come Sunday evening, he's the one that should be starting alongside Rice, Foden in the 10. That's the way it's got to be, and that's what I think Southgate will do. Of course, that means you either stick Bellingham out on the left, which I'd completely disagree with, or you drop him. And for me, you've got to drop him. And I know a lot of people won't be happy with that, but I feel like that is because all the hype that's been around him this season, joining Real Madrid at 20 years old, taking Zidane's number, winning La Liga Player of the Year. These are all just sticking in everyone's mind. How much everyone's talking about him. That makes you think you can't drop him. Not at all. Of course you can drop him. He's just a player at the end of the day. He's just another bloke playing football. You can drop him, forget all the status and all the noise around him. He's not playing as good as Phil Foden is in that 10. You don't want to play him out on the left, so therefore you have to drop him. It's as simple as that, and he's a good player to have off the bench. And don't get me wrong, there are teams where he'll suit, where the game's more open. Maybe when we're against tougher opposition, which we might be in the later stages, then he might become more effective. But for now, when we're going against teams that are sitting in, for me, it's Phil Foden. And then, of course, the subs did make an impact last night. Far too late, in my opinion, but they made an impact. It was Palmer. Palmer, for me, has to start. He looked sharper than Saka. I hate to say it, being an Arsenal fan, but he did. He was creating something every single time he got on the ball. He looked like he'd create something. He was a threat. So comfortable out there, and he does keep his width. For someone who's a left-footed on the right, he keeps his width. So, do you then drop Saka? It's hard to argue against that at the moment. It's hard to argue against that. Saka's for me don't suit the left. Do you then put Palmer on the left? He can do that better than Foden and Bellingham, I think. But again, you're playing someone out of position, so it's a tough one to call. For me, it's got to be need one of Gordon or Saka on the bench. You can't have them both playing, because you need that pace and that direct play to come off the bench at some point when it's late stages in the game and players are leggy. So it might have to be Gordon to start on the left, give you that direct pace in behind, who's going to run into space when it's there. And then you can have Palmer on the right, sorry, and let him link up and also keep his width. And then you've got a talented, lively winger like Saka to come off from the bench. I will be doing another video later this week, giving my exact lineup I'd play on Sunday night for England, and the reasons why. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And let's see how they get on. Let's see who we end up playing, and think, overall, it's positive signs.